Greetings, everyone. Hola, mahaba, mahaba. Careful, halak, careful, halak. That's how are you in Arabic. I hope everyone is well. I hope you are all safe and hydrated and nourished. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And for the most part, I try to always open with that. And well, sometimes I don't, but I then catch myself and I say that. But I hope everyone is great, and I hope you're all doing good on this terrific Tuesday. It might be a terrible Tuesday, it might be a tiresome Tuesday. Whatever the day is, I just hope you're managing and getting through. I just want to start with a few things, a few topics of conversation that I want to have. Uh, First and foremost is that, well, just the other day, while minding my business and doing my laundry, like I do most every single day, well, I have the dogs now, and then I wash their little wee wee pads, um, and then rinse out the machine. But um, while doing laundry on Sunday, um, minding my own business, just doing a few things at home here. Um, One of the circuit breakers went out, and one of the lights went out downstairs. And well, what happened was my dryer, the heat element fried. And well, that really stinks because, well, in order to replace it and have it, in order to have it replaced and then to order it, well, I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm going to do, but the washing machine still works. But I have a backup. I have a backup. I have a washer dryer unit backup. I picked up a secondary unit. It was a floor sample, a scratch and dent. They had it at Best Buy. And for anybody who's looking to buy appliances, scratch and dent does the same thing. It does the same thing. Unless you're someone so hung up on aesthetics and, well, you can save money if you buy something that's on the floor as a scratch and dent. I recommend doing that. But not everyone is like me. Not everyone is as logical when it comes to their spending as I am. I just have that in me because you know what? When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, um, we're all responsible for our own expenses unless you have unless you have a spouse or a partner who takes care of everything for you, or if you do things jointly. But for the most part, it's better to just watch your spending. And I always say that because, well, um, people fail to realize that the money that they have today is not going to be the money that you're going to have down the road unless you have a lifelong inheritance, excuse me, or unless you have well, unless you have a high source of wealth income. You understand? And well, the only people that I know that have that are celebrities that are indebted to their management, and well, and then they have to abide by whatever their managers tell them to do. But I think for the most of us, us regular folk that are not involved in anything of that nature, well, we we live in the real world. But other than that, I just want to share my experiences um, as a widow. And I have to say, I really don't mind being alone. You know, a lot of people are so codependent that they can't even basically go to the bathroom by themselves. They have to have someone with them at all times. I know people that have never lived on their own. They've either they live with their family and then they got married, or they cohabitated with the partner, and then if that didn't work, then they had somebody else lined up in the wings, you know, somebody waiting, um, or but they always had a backup. They always had somebody to be there for them. I've been on my own for like ever, and I'm fine with that. Even during COVID, I was home alone all by myself, and I loved it. I was like, all right, I could do this. I have no problem. Does that make me weird? No, that makes me very independent. That makes me someone who can survive and not be, well, not panic, you know, not panic. Because I think if you don't, let's put it this way, my opinion is as follows. If you do not experience living on your own throughout the course of your life, you are going to become so codependent on others that you really wouldn't want to even share like a cab ride with them, let alone sharing your life. And I know people like that, like they've never lived alone. Mostly women, but I do know some men like that too. Like they'll, if a relationship goes south, then they have to immediately jump into the next situation. It's like, for what? For what? You came into the world alone. When you know you came down the birth canal or the cesarean, if your mom had a cesarean, you came out by yourself. You know, like, hello, cut the cord. But I'm cut differently. I'm from a different. I'm a different breed. Um, but I say for people, um, try being on your own. I really, really, I say that. Try living on your own. Try not to have to be so codependent on people being around you to be there for you. Because look, it comes down to this. Um, as we get older, our circle gets smaller. And when your circle gets smaller, uh, a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people have to always constantly have people in their circle. And I mean, does it make me a weirdo that I don't need that? No, it makes me a freaking badass. It makes me hell of independent, and not somebody who's gonna be like, oh no, I can't. No, hell yeah. Hell to the no, rather. Hell to the no. Yes, yes, I can. And yes, you can too. So, you know, try being alone. Really, try being alone. I'm not saying to break up with your husband or your wife or your partner, but I mean, if things are going south and then you have to be on your own, stay on your own. You'll manage. You'll manage. You know, like now, I don't have any family. I mean, I have family, but they all have their own life. I have a son, but he's like, you know, he looks at me as like my son is like the campaign manager for the I Hate Patricia, and that's just his way of thinking because, well, that's because he was very pampered when he was younger, and then as he got older, when I didn't want to continue to pamper his ass, he built a strong resentment towards me. And plus, I'm a general. It's like, no, you got to do things the right way. If you don't do them the right way, well, you ain't going to do nothing. You're not going to do it around me, and blah, 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 blah. That's another video. But yeah, I would suggest to people, if you're whatever, you're on your own, if your relationship is not working, manage on your own. Manage on your own. Yes, we need people. We need to have connections. I'm not saying to totally disconnect and disengage from society and humanity, but don't be someone who cannot stand on your own, because it comes down to it. As you get older, you're going to realize, like, hey, your circle is smaller and smaller, and the people that were in your life, 20 years ago, they're not necessarily, they may no longer be here with us. They may no longer be alive. Or they may have just, gone on to doing their own thing and living their life. And, they become a recluse and they don't want to deal with people or whatever. Or they become sick or something. Um, it's, it's something that people should all do. It's something that people should all do. And also, too, if you're a parent, um, you teach your kids independence also. Because if you have children and you can't stand on your own, then you teach your kids that, oh, you have to have a relationship. Oh, you have to do this. Oh, you have to do that. And it just makes for like a bitch ass kind of society, It makes for like people be really wimpy and like people that don't know how to stand on their own. It's like, no, 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 no. My mother taught us that, She was like, take care of yourself. You got to handle your own business and you take care of your life. Nobody, my dogs agree. They're agreeing. He's agreeing. That's Sammy. That's my brother's dog. He's saying, yep, Ma, you're right. You're right. Okay, hold on, buddy. So where was I? Yeah. Teach your kids to be independent and then they become very strong adults. If you don't, then they become very weak minded and then they will find themselves in situations like unhealthy relationships. Um, I know about that. Yes, I know about that. I shared the story of, I got married to my husband uh, after a great deal of trauma. And basically, I had a fart in my brain for a number of years because I should have gotten out of the relationship. But no, like a dumbass, I stayed. Well, I can't say dumbass. I went into the Edith role, like, Archie, Archie, whatever you say, Archie, okay, Archie. And, I think women, we have a tendency to try to always, like, you know, say, okay, well, I could deal with so much, I could deal with this, I could deal with that. And meanwhile, your brain should really be telling you, like, oh, hell no, F this clown and the circus he rode in on. Kick him to the curb and let him go. But anyway, I didn't, and well, I stayed. But so for now, present place and time, I've been now on my own. I've been widowed now since 2019, and let's see that first holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas, I remember I went on a dating app and I was talking to this older guy. He lived out in Long Island. Um, he wanted to drive up to where I am in Dutchess County to meet me, and he was on the large side. I mean, like not not fit. I'm not saying you have to be GQ for me, but you have to be in. You got to be healthy. And this man he was on the obese side, and I was like, now if I were a bitch, if I were like a real codependent little sap ass bitch, I could have wrapped this guy around my finger because this guy was willing to drive like almost 100 miles to meet me after one conversation. We didn't even do a video chat. I was like, oh my God. But I'm not like that. No, I'm not into that. Nope. If I don't feel it in my heart, I can't. You could be like the greatest person in the world. I have to feel something and I have to be genuine. A lot of people confront like that, and I think a lot of women do it. A lot of women do it for finances because I told a story about the 89-year-old that I met in January of 2020, right after my husband died. The old man who he was in the doctor's office and he struck up a conversation. Hey, honey, you got a husband? You got a boyfriend? Verbatim, I can remember everything this guy said. And I was like, huh? He's like, you got a husband or a boyfriend? Because if you don't, I can take care of you. I own a bunch of houses. I got property. And I just laughed. I was like, oh, dear God, dear God. Now, again, if I was a conniving little bitch, like a lot of women are, somebody else would have been right on that old man, handing him documents here all the time, assign this for me. Oh, it's just so that I could be on the lease, so I could stay here, so that we're tenants, and just in case, if I have to leave, people come up with all kinds of scams, having this poor old man sign paperwork. But no, not me, not me. But anyway, getting back to the independence, it's really important, people. It's so important to just hold on one second. Is that school bus? The bus was driving by. Mrs. Kravitz over here. Yeah, but like I said, a lot of people, they are very, very manipulative, and if they see an opportunity, they're going to jump right on that and have no regard, have no regard. And for anyone who has elderly family, you have elderly parents, aunties, uncles, even neighbors, check in on them, check in on them, because it's so easy to be taken advantage of when you're on your own, because nobody's looking out for you. So the moral of my story is to CYA at all times, cover your ass at all times, be careful who you associate with, um, don't don't let anybody move into your house. Don't let anyone ever move into your home, your house, your apartment, your condo, your mobile home, whatever, your trailer, wherever, whatever, because then people try to take over. They try to take over, and then they try to kick you out. And that happened to a lady I work with. Her dad had a beautiful, like a 3-bedroom apartment up in Washington Heights, and he was on a fixed income, his retirement and Social Security, and he was looking to supplement his income. So he allowed this female doctor. She was a student, a med student at Columbia University. He allowed her to move into the apartment. This witch, she went ahead and she took this man's apartment. She took over his freaking apartment. Yep. Oh, hold on. Hold on. What do you want? Oh, you got out. Oh, you little stinkers. Come on. Now, you were fed at 6:30. You're not getting fed until after 3. Sorry. I'm sorry. This is how things have to go. You have to just stay right here. How did you get out? How did you get out? You're like 2 little Houdinis. My God, my two chihuahuas. These dogs, they must have like bionics in their front paws and in their hind legs, because I had them locked down. I had them in a cage, and they got out. They did that more than once. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about a lady I work with. Her dad placed an ad, had a med student stay in his apartment. She had one of the bedrooms, and this bitch took over the freaking apartment. She took over that man's apartment. Yep, yep. So don't do it. Don't do it. If somebody wants to stay, they could stay like a week, one night. Okay, one night you gotta go. GFY, it's time to go. Goodbye. No, you're not staying. Nope. People will manipulate. People will manipulate to their benefit, and it's like people go in with their eyes with blinders on, thinking like, oh, I'm doing something nice. Oh, I'm doing something kind. Yeah, okay. I had somebody staying with me 3 weeks, and I was like, no. Oh, can I stay longer? I'm like, nope. Why? Because after 30 days, then you're asked to claim residency here in my house. Nope, you got to go. You got to go. And well, that's what that was. It was actually a family. Um, you know, Listen, I let them stay for 3 weeks, so and then they managed anyway. They got their own place. But yeah, the message is be cautious, be guarded, and you got to be a bitch. You got to be a bitch with people. You got to really be or a hard ass. You can't be nice because when you're nice to people, they think of you as like you're a freaking doormat. Like, oh, I got a sucker right here. I got them hook, line, and sinker. Okay, let me manipulate. Let me manipulate the situation to my benefit. And trust and believe it happens. It happens all the time. But yeah, so now here I am. It'll be 7 years. He died 2019. Yeah, it'll be 7 years this October. And I've been alone ever since. The one person I talked to that I had gone on one date, the one, the guy, he wore a hairpiece on his profile, which there's nothing wrong with that. Um, but the person that I met and the person on the profile, it was two different people. And the body stature of this guy, it reminded me of someone that SA'd me, the same body stature, like short and stubby looking. Ugh, short little arms. Ugh. Anyway, so that was that. And that was one quick date, and never to happen again. And bye bye. And then one other person that I talked to, we remained friends. But we didn't connect any further than a friendship. And well, that's that. So here I am telling my stories, and I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Um, just if you're alone, you have to keep yourself busy, keep yourself occupied, find a hobby. I mean, do something with your time. Uh, if you want to date. Just be careful, be cautious. I mean, now at my age, like, let's see, what's the pool? Either I get young guys like trying to hit on me, that they're looking for an older woman experience. So I'm like, no, sweetheart, sorry. No, 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 not happening. Keep it moving. Thanks for the ego boost, but not interested. Take your sorry sack of poop and go somewhere else. There are women my age that they'll go out with guys that are 30. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know. Maybe you don't have a son, or maybe you don't have children. I don't know. To me, that's like, ugh, I don't, ugh, I just don't. Like, it's like, yeah, somebody in their 40s, like, I don't know, to each his own. But then, listen, everybody has their thing. Some people that's what they like. Like, I don't know. I think it's just kind of like, hmm, kind of stay in your lane. Like a 10-year difference, that's not bad. Anything more than that, no, no, no. Then again, what do you have? What the hell would I have in common with somebody who's in their 40s? Like, no. Like the year that they were born, I was like 25 or something. I don't know. I don't get that. I guess for men, because men don't mature, and they don't, you know, I think when a man is like 50, he finally reaches like the mental capacity of like a 20-year-old, maybe a 25-year-old. It all depends. It depends on, where you come from. Some people just mature more quickly because of life experiences. But then you have a lot of people that they're, well, let's put it this way. If you've had your ass pampered your whole life by your parents or your mommy, um, you know, when it comes to real life stuff, real life situations, like it's like you're the blind leading the blind. Like the people don't know how to handle situations without, like, resorting to either being violent or doing something like very, very harmful to themselves. And unfortunately that happens. People don't, well, some people just can't cope with a lot of stuff. But like I said, I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm like that special breed. I'm that rare breed. you know um Maybe it was because I was walking on my hands when I was a little kid. I was doing handstands, walking, and I made the blood in my brain. It filled my brain, and it gave me more of an endurance than others, you know. But anyway, on another subject, I'm gonna digress into politics here now. We have elections coming up, and there are these people that are going around that are tormenting and harassing people that are in an election against candidates who are paid by APAC. And I was watching something last night for this candidate Espaillat in Washington Heights. Espaillat genocide. Adriano Genocide Espaillat. Yep, that's your name. Along with Kathy Genocide Hochul, Tish Genocide James, Chuck Genocide Schumer, Dan Genocide Goldman, Richie Genocide Torres, each and every one of you who have taken money from APAC. You get your first name, and then your middle name is Genocide, and then your surname. What they were doing, they were harassing this woman, and harassing her and saying, "Oh, Israel doesn't have the right to exist." No, Israel has the right to exist 1,000% without unaliving and continuing to genocide Palestinians. Yeah, that's their right to exist without being a genocide nation and unaliving Palestinians, you know? So what they were doing is similar to what has gone on in Nazi Germany. If you look back at historical videos of how people were tormented that weren't for the regime, this is what these people are doing. And these agitators are all paid by APAC. They're all paid by APAC. Yep. Yes, they are. Yeah, now you can stop watching. Ask your mother to say that, okay, buddy? Ask your mother to say that. Okay? Now get yourself off my page and run along. Are you bored? Find somebody to love you, okay? Maybe get a dog. Maybe get a goldfish. Freaking moron. But anyway, yeah, this is what's happening now in politics, and it's horrible. It's horrible. And now this deal that was, oh my God, the Strait of Hormuz. So the U.S. surrendered to Iran, and Iran still has the cards, and this is where we're at, people. This is where we are at. Also, did you hear about the dead ducks at the reflecting pool? Yeah, the dead ducks. That's breaking news. This president has done so much damage to our country and also to the grounds of the White House. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And well, midterms are here, and there's going to be a blue wave. There's going to be a blue wave. So, for those of you who support the Donald, knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. But I would take a serious, serious look in the mirror and question your humanity. Question your humanity. Because this agency that they have, CENTCOM, that's going around, that is abducting migrants, haven't y'all noticed that they're only black and brown migrants? They're not going after the Polish, they're not going after the Russian, they're not going after the Ukrainians or the white Albanians, okay? They're going after black and brown people. That's what they're doing. And they all are receiving benefits from CENTCOM. They're all receiving, they're all invested. They have stocks in their portfolios. Is invested with that. Another company too, Core Civic. Yeah, Core Civic is part of look it up. Look it up. Look up Core Civic. And for people who buy scratch off tickets, they're affiliated with genocide. Look them up. Look them up. I used to buy the scratch offs. No more. No more. Nope. Nope. I don't care if the lottery is like $20 billion. I will not give these people a half a penny. Never again. Never again. Have I in the past? Oh yeah. I was buying like, well, I would buy tickets every single day. I stopped smoking cigarettes, so that was like my cigarette money. That was my buying lottery tickets. That was my cigarette and coffee money. That's how I figured it into my budget. Yep, but not anymore. Not anymore. But anyway, everybody, I'll be back with more stories about my life as a widow and my opinion on politics. On politics. Everybody have a great day. Stay safe and well, and always do the right thing because we're all being watched. Yes, we are. Till next time. Bye.